Where would it even be if I had wood filler? Oh, I'm most definitely just butchering my door right now. I've always wanted a smart lock, but there's two main reasons I've held off from getting one. The first reason is because installation is a pain, and as door frames and doors warp over time, it can be hard to get things aligned properly. And since smart deadbolts rely on a motor mechanism to seat the deadbolt properly in the door frame, if things aren't aligned perfectly, the motor can often have trouble getting the lock to operate. The second reason I've been apprehensive to get a smart lock is because of the wireless technologies available. Most smart locks will have a number keypad as a backup option or alternative way to get into the lock, and I think this is clunky. I really am just looking for a deadbolt that looks like a deadbolt, and for these locks, your main options have been some sort of Bluetooth low energy connection where you have to have an app on your phone and either open the app, wait for it to connect, and unlock it from there, or hope that the Bluetooth connection keeps its connection in the background and you're holding your device up just hoping that it works. It's clunky. Ever since I saw Apple HomeKey announced at WWDC last year, I became interested in the technology. The fact that I could just tap my iPhone or Apple Watch to the lock and have it operate via NFC is something that really intrigued me. You don't even have to worry about your device being unlocked. There's only a handful of locks right now that support Apple HomeKey, and the Level Lock Plus is the one that stood out to me. So I placed my order from the Apple Store and patiently waited for the lock to arrive. Right now it is sold exclusively at Apple, but it is a really simple smart lock. It's got a key, looks just like a standard deadbolt, so no keypad. I'm hoping that the installation is not too difficult. I've just had a lot of issues with some doors working better than others, and sometimes with deadbolts, the internal parts just don't fit the door quite right. With a smart lock, it has to be a good fit because it's gonna be opening and closing the mechanism with a motor. Oh wow, this is like... So we got our verbiage here, looks like some instructions. Oh wow, they give you these little access cards, kind of like a hotel room. I think this is really cool because if you have a guest staying with you, you could literally hand them this card and your house will feel so classy. Like, yeah, just tap this to the door. I'm sure you can also share access to the lock on your HomeKit setup, but I think it's really cool to have a different option to access your lock. So I've got the old lock out. I'm going to just keep all the parts together because I don't know if I'll ever have to use that lock again. Hopefully this level lock is just the last lock I'll ever need for this door. Now, of course, one thing to consider is if you have a new construction or you have a brand new door, it is much easier to get a modern lock like this to work because you can have the door cut to the exact specifications of the lock. But if you're doing a retrofit like I am on a door that's probably seen several deadbolts over the years, it's a lot more hit or miss, but we're gonna see what we can do to get this thing installed and working well. So I believe how this works is we will insert the deadbolt assembly piece into the door, and already I'm a little bit nervous because I don't know if you can see this, but this is not really a good fit for the door frame. Yeah, you can see the hole that's been cut here is a little bit justified to the right. So when we insert this, it's not going in, and I'm worried about chiseling any more off of this door because that's pretty much the edge. I'm kind of tempted to just take out this lip with a chisel, use a bit of wood filler, and just go for it.
People in the comments are probably cringing.
Oh, I don't want to nick the... Yeah. The producer's stepping in.
A few moments later.
After some slight modifications, aka chiseling the door, we did get it to fit well. The screw holes are a little bit off. I'm wondering if we need to use wood filler, or do I even have wood filler? Where would it even be if I had wood filler? All right, here we are at Lowe's. I got the stuff, wood filler, little putty knife. We're good to go. So we got back from Lowe's, I got some wood filler, and I went ahead and filled the old holes on the door. Yeah, that is a much better fit. That's going to come together well. Also, I'm gonna go ahead and get a picture of the bottom here because it's got the serial number and the HomeKit pairing code, and that could be really valuable information later on in the setup. I would hate to have to pull this thing out just to get that information. All right, we've got some room here to slide the level lock unit into place and get it nice and tightened. So update, we were actually able to get this to fit while using that short setting. So the core is sort of towards the left side of the door, but it does fit. There's a little bit of a gap on this side, but I'm not too bothered by that. That's just one of those things when you're retrofitting a lock. Sometimes you have little minor quirks to deal with, but I'm just gonna go to the other side of the door here and see if I can fit this piece on. And wow, that actually fits really well. It's already pretty level. Oh, I think this is gonna work. I'm starting to think this could work well. I'm getting excited for this. Now, one question I still have is how I'm supposed to put in the battery. Yeah, supposedly it goes in the deadbolt piece. I'm just not sure how that comes apart. We haven't installed the battery yet. We've installed the unit, so theoretically, this piece is just going to push on the back here. Look at that. Wow. That's pretty smooth too. I'm feeling pretty good about that. I would say that we've got the mechanical side of the lock down. So now it's just installing our battery, and then the fun part, setting up the lock with HomeKit and giving the tech a try. So to put in the battery, you want to make sure that your deadbolt is extended, and then you can just unscrew the end. This is actually very intuitive, very simple to change the battery. And then it looks like the plus side of the battery goes in. So that's going to be oriented this way. Just go ahead and push that in the lock and close your cap. All right, I'm going to download the Level Home app and we're off. Okay, level. That was fancy. Get started. All right, install lock. I want to install level lock. This will be garage door. What would you like to name your home? I guess just home. Okay, would like to use Bluetooth. Searching for your level lock. It may take a few seconds to find your lock. Your lock is found. Connect with my location. Firmware update required. Of course, okay. I have to update my lock. You can't make this stuff up. It's the world of IoT. Updating light bulbs, updating locks. Hold to unlock. Man, that goes really slow. Hold to lock. All right, well, let's try the HomeKit here. Okay, garage. Level lock. The home key from my home is available in the wallet app and can be used to unlock doors. Okay. Yes, I do definitely want express mode on. That's something I'm really excited about, is to be able to just tap my phone to the lock and have it instantly unlock, not have to open the wallet app. Oh. Okay, let me try that again. Wow. I'm gonna try closing the door, locking it, and then seeing how smooth it is to unlock it. Okay, now I'm just gonna unlock it. Okay, that's pretty magical. That is pretty cool. I cannot wait to just play around with this thing more. Yeah, we've installed it. This is the level lock. This is so exciting. Now I gotta add it to my Apple Watch. So it's been a few weeks since I installed the level lock, and at first I had a little bit of trouble with it jamming. Every time I would try to lock it, I could hear the motor straining and having a hard time trying to deploy the latch, and it would throw an error message saying that the lock jammed. I thought maybe my best bet was going to be to return it. I wasn't sure if it was going to work out, but I did decide to reach out to Level Lock support before I made the call to return it, and I'm glad I did. It took them a while to reply. I think it was around a week and a half, but once they replied, they told me to try loosening these screws right here. They said that if they're over tightened, it can put strain on the motor and it can make it harder for the motor to deploy the latch. So I loosened these screws by about a quarter turn each, and to my surprise, ever since doing that, the lock has worked way more reliably. It works almost every time. It does jam occasionally, but I'd say no more often than any other smart deadbolt. So ever since making those changes, the level lock has been working great. So I have to say, the level lock has really impressed me. And most importantly, Apple HomeKey works exactly like I hoped. My dream has finally come true of being able to just tap my phone or tap my watch to a lock and have it instantly operate. There's no lag, there's no worrying about a dropped connection or anything like that. It just works. It reminds me of a hotel key card. Now, there are definitely a few things I don't care for about the level lock. First, the lock itself does not connect to Wi-Fi. So if you wanted to lock or unlock your door while you're away, you could only do this if you have a HomeKit hub. This would be an Apple TV, HomePod, or HomePod Mini. So basically, you need a hub that's connected to Wi-Fi, and then the hub will communicate with the lock and tell it to lock or unlock while you're away. Next, I do wish Level did a bit more engineering on the actual core of the lock. I watched a lockpicking lawyer video where he showed all of the simple, basic attacks that the level lock is susceptible to. So if you're concerned about someone picking your lock or the physical security of the level lock, there's definitely some improvements that could be made. And these are really basic attacks, so it kind of feels like Level didn't even try with the core. And with just a little more work, they can make this lock a lot harder to pick. But I personally don't fully trust any smart lock, so that's why I chose to put the level lock on an interior garage door. That way someone would still have to overcome an analog lock to get to the level lock. And we need to talk about the price. The level lock is extremely expensive at $329, sold exclusively at the Apple Store. I do think the price is justified right now because there's only a handful of Apple HomeKey locks available, but as more locks get released on the market, the price is likely to drop, and it should drop because this is the most basic smart lock you can get. So do I recommend the level lock? Well, if you're a tech enthusiast and you're interested in the idea of Apple HomeKey, then I would absolutely recommend it. I really enjoyed my time with it, and I'm glad that I'm keeping it around. But if you're thinking a smart lock is going to enhance your life and make things easier, I wouldn't be so sure. See, the Apple HomeKey part of the level lock is phenomenal. It works every time, it's reliable, it's great. But let's not forget that the level lock still is a smart lock at the end of the day, and it has the same quirks of any other IoT device. Which is to say that sometimes there's glitches, there's kinks, things don't work like they should, the lock jams, and sometimes it takes a lot of effort to maintain the lock and keep it working like it's supposed to. So if you want to feel like you're living in the future and you want that smart home feel, then yeah, go out and get a level lock. But if you're just thinking of ways to make your life more efficient and more convenient, I might be sticking with the key.